Hi, I'm Maryjo with Fourth Dimension Healing in Stillwater, Minnesota, and I'm also the director of the Center for Crystal and Healing Studies, which is my online school. Today I want to take just a couple of minutes to talk with you about citrine. Citrine is one of what we refer to as the 5 members of the quartz family. So within the quartz family, we have clear quartz, we have smoky quartz, we have rose quartz, we have citrine, and we have amethyst. And it's actually out of amethyst that we are able to get citrine. So here is a piece of amethyst, and you may be familiar with amethyst. It's got this beautiful variations of purples and violets and lavenders. When amethyst is heated, its properties change. It becomes citrine. And there are 2 forms of citrine that I want to just touch on very briefly. If this piece of amethyst is heated while it is still within the ground, it becomes known as natural citrine. And I want to show you an example of a piece that I work with here in my healing practice. You can see that from this lavender purple, we now have a variation of yellows, pale straw color. Natural citrine tends to be, in my experience, more of a kind of a light amber, beige, kind of a yellowish hue like this. Now, if that piece of amethyst is treated after it's been removed from the soil, that means it's been placed in an oven or a kiln, so to speak, and heated up. Then here's an example of what we get. This is called common citrine or heat treated citrine. And so if we compare again this piece of amethyst with this piece of common citrine, you can see that they both have the very similar points, which is very consistent with many of the quartz family. But you can see that the purples have now darkened, and common citrine or heat treated citrine will often be much darker. And this is another piece that I work with in my healing practice. So while both the natural and the heat treated or common citrine are forms of citrine, and they resonate with a different type of energy. They resonate with the fire energy or the fire element energy, as opposed to the amethyst, which is much more of a wind element association. So these forms of quartz, the natural citrine and the common or heat treated citrine, are very helpful when we are working with fire related activities. So I wanted to show you an example of a few of the different types of citrine that I carry. I'm going to start with the natural citrine first, and here you can see a piece of tumbled natural citrine. It does have that more of that brownish, a little bit darker color. And here is a piece of raw, which also has more of this straw coloring. And I want to show you a couple examples of what I carry, examples of the heat treated or common citrine. Here is a piece. You can see this one is quite dark. Here's another point. Again, you can see that there is a difference between the heat treated and the common. Some of them, here's an example of a couple, or here are 2 examples of points. And this one, for example, does not have a lot of really obvious coloring. It's still common citrine or heat treated citrine. So when we're working with citrine, in my experience, I have found that, and again, this is my experience, the natural citrine has a more sustained kind of ongoing effect when it comes to working with the fire element and working particularly with the 2nd and 3rd chakras, because those are the centers that are very fiery in our energy field, as compared to working, for example, let's say with a piece of common or heat treated citrine. This seems, in my experience, to be much more kind of abrupt and action right away, whereas we get with the natural a more sustained long-term effect. Any of these types of citrine are wonderful additions to crystal grids. They can really bring in a lot of power, motivation, and activation into crystal grids. So there are a lot of different ways to work with it. Take a look at my website. You can learn more about the types of citrine that I carry, and you can always, of course, reach out to me with questions that you may have as well, because I really am very interested in helping you to understand more clearly how to work with gemstones and crystals for healing. So for now, I offer you many blessings. Be well.